Hello everyone, here we are today for our monthly FAQ. So what we are doing now is we will be asking you guys questions on Instagram or on YouTube, and you can leave your questions with us and we intend to answer most of them if we can. So we asked a bunch of questions a couple of weeks back and a lot of you asked questions and we answered a few of them through Insta stories, but I felt that we could use a bit more detail with some of the questions and to answer those that we have not answered. So let's begin straight away. First question from Tam Aiman. What's the difference between drive, distortion, fuzz? Well, we did quite a funny response on Instagram, but that aside, overdrive is something if you take your clean tone and you kind of push it harder, it just drives a bit more. You still hear clarity and detail in your overdrives. Distortion is something that's something that completely modifies the clean tone. And when it comes to fuzz, it just changes the waveform so it can be really broken sounding, really gnarly. And his follow-up question was, why do those three types of high frequency pedals affect differently? That I wouldn't know, because that you gotta ask people who build pedals. Next question is Ahmad Hasef asking where to download the Moore Studio and that he bought the G200 with us. Well, thank you very much. You gotta go to mooreaudio.net and then you gotta go scroll all the way down to downloads and you will see that there is a firmware and software download link. I'll leave the link in the description below so you can click that. I want a metal and rock sound. Can you suggest what gear should I buy? Well, there's a lot of things you can choose from, so it depends. Who do you like? Who's your favorite band, for instance? So if you like Metallica, you might want to go for an LTD. If you like a Van Sevenfold, you can go for the Sinister Gate signature. For amps, you can go with something high gain, probably like a Orange or a Hughes and Kettner Tubemaster Deluxe 20, like the one that I always use in all of my videos. At the end of the day, it depends all on your budget, so work with that, easiest way. Thoughts on Aries guitars? They are excellent guitars. I own one, so if you notice, there are some videos where I demo using a purple colored guitar with a maple board. That guitar is not made of wood. There is no wooden material on it at all. It is made of something called Arium and the fretboard is Richlight, so it resonates really nicely. Do you prefer coil tap on guitars or a HSS configuration? I prefer guitars without a middle pickup because it just seems to get in the way of my picking, so I would prefer a coil tap on guitar. But if you're talking of a Stratocaster SSS, that is something that I can kind of, compromise and play that because it's a Strat. EMG 81 or Fishman Fluence Modern. I'm definitely an EMG guy. I'm not a big fan of the Fluence Modern. I think they're a bit too hot, a bit too saturated. I always find that I got to crank down the gain or change the different voicing of the pickup. So I'm not the biggest fan. I'm still an EMG guy. Is the neural quad Cortex a real game changer? I think it is. It's quite cool that you can actually sample, a physical pedal tone and program it into the Cortex. I tried the Cortex last year at NAMM 2020, but at that particular moment, they did not have many amp simulations in the unit, and all the guitars that were there was 7 and 8 string guitars, so I could not try to test it with a traditional tone. It was all of the high gain stuff, so it'd be interesting to see what they've come up with over the years. Cheap electric guitar cable versus expensive, what's the difference? Well, if you went back to like 5-10 years ago, there was a clear tone difference between the cables because the cheaper ones tend to have more capacitance. Now capacitance is something that is affected by the quality and length of the cable. The longer the cable, the more the capacitance, and therefore you'll suck a lot of treble from your tone. But these days, the cheaper cables seem to have caught up to that. There is almost similar amounts of capacitance with an expensive one, but probably what you'll be paying for is the durability of the cable. So the cheaper ones might have very thin outer jacket, so it's very easy to break and you lose signal. Also, the connectors might be cheap connectors. They are not gold plated or anything like that, so maybe they would corrode or they become gray easily, so then your signal becomes weak. Audien ID4 Mark II or Audien Evo 4, definitely the ID4 Mark II because it's a better preamp. The Evo is a completely different preamp. Choose one guitar, one pedal, one amp to play for the rest of your life is definitely an LP style guitar. Probably a solid state amp with effects, like the one I mentioned in the Insta story was a Hughes and Kettner Black Spirit. That one has built-in effects, it's solid state, so there's no tubes to get spoiled in. And probably an effect would be a wah pedal, which is the Joe Bonamassa Crybaby, my favorite Crybaby. Thoughts on the SSL2? It's a decent interface for that price, mid to entry to intermediate level, and I would group like the SSL and the Audient and the complete audio in one group. The 4K preamps are pretty decent. It's similar to the Scarlett Air mode, so it adds a bit more presence to the tone of your recorded tone. But I always tell people that, you know, when you're buying interfaces, just buy it according to your ins and outs. You know, how many ins do you want, how many outs you want, and of course to take into consideration what kind of DAW it comes with or software. Depends on what you want to use, so it's easy to choose it that way. How to use the Moore micro preamp pedal? Is it okay if you use it with combo pedal? Yes, you can use it with a combo pedal, or you can use it with an interface or mixer because it has a cab simulator built into it. What you have to do when you're using with the combo amp is make sure you have the cab simulation turned off. And we have a demo of a couple of the pedals on our channel. You can check that out. The Moore 011 Kelly Dual based on a Mesa, and the 012 I believe based on a Friedman preamp. Favorite overdrive pedal? It is the Mojo and Effects Rook. We do not have that in Music Bliss, but my fondest memory of my next favorite overdrive pedal is the MXR Custom Badass Overdrive, because I had a multi-effects, the Boss GT8, and when I sold that, I immediately bought. The first overdrive I bought was a Custom Badass OD. Heard Boss ES8 has poor built-in buffer. I've not tried the ES8, but I would doubt that it has poor built-in buffers, because Boss makes very decent buffers, as you can listen and hear with all their buffered pedals. Speaking of which, some of my earlier boards had Boss pedals as the buffers, so I would have the tuner in the beginning of the chain, and then I'll have the reverb at the end of the chain. And nowadays I do use the Empress buffer because it makes the in and out routing really neat, so the guitar in is on the right side of the board and the amplifier out is on the right side of the board as well, and it's a built-in boost, things like that. Best distortion effect, my favorite is the Dirty Shirley. I've been using it for a few years now. It's really versatile, it reacts with the volume knob really well, it cleans up very nicely. And another thing, when I use that pedal, I make sure to crank the internal game trim port to the max so it has the most gain. Please restock Stack Telecaster, I want it. Yes, it should be coming in a couple months, so stay tuned. I want an 8-string guitar but Music Bliss tak ada ambil. Mana cari dia ke kena order? You can order, so if you want anything from LTD Schecter, we can pre-order for you. Just let us know the model and we'll give you a price. Does brand really matter when it comes to tone, sound, not quality of build, but tone-wise? Yes and no. Number one, tone is in the fingers. You know, if you know how to milk the particular equipment, you can get good tones from it. But of course, with slightly more pricey equipment, for example, the pickups on the guitar is a bit more fine-tuned. You know, there's lesser harsh frequencies and things like that. So it's a yes and no thing. Best budget headphone monitor recommendations. One of our top selling is definitely the Audio Technica. But budget-wise, I'd understand that for some people the M50 or 40 is a bit more pricey. So at least try to go for a M30. That's what I would say. Do more bass-related demo lah from Megat Yasri. Can bro. Sorry bro, we don't have any bass players here. So if you want to join the company, send your resume and we will consider. Overdrive distortion recommended for SSS guitar. Try to get metal, genting sound. You definitely want something with a lot of gain. The other day I mentioned that I'd recommend either the BEOD Deluxe, there's a lot of gain there, or you can try the MXR 5150 because the 5150 has a noise gate. So maybe with the single coil it gets a bit more noisy, and if that bothers you, you can get the 5150. But I would prefer to go with the BEOD Deluxe because it's dual channel. So you can set up one to be your rhythm sound and you can set up another one to be like a boost or solo sound. Just bought the Stag SES30. What sort of modification would you suggest for the guitar? Buy another one. Best versatile distortion overdrive for blues and metal. I still say the Dirty Shirley. It's really versatile. It reacts with the volume knob very well, which is a key thing when playing blues, I feel. And with metal, it still does a really good job. You can slam a tube screamer before that and it'll sound really cool. How to set up a live streaming? You need a few things. Equipment wise, you need a microphone, so you can use a USB microphone, so you can just use that. Get a pair of headphones, or you can use an interface and an XLR mic instead. And we do sell a few packages where they come all together. Next thing you need is a webcam on your laptop or your PC, and you need a software such as OBS. What is the best budget guitar for beginners? Stag. So if you want a Strat, we have the SES30, you can check out the demo on our channel, or the Teleshape, which is the SET Plus. But if you're a pure beginner, maybe you'd want to go to the SES30, the Strat style, because the neck is slightly thinner. Is it possible to order an ESP custom shop? How do we go about it? Yes, you can. You can order either ESP Japan or ESP USA. So with USA, there is an online builder. So if you go to the ESP website, there is an online configurator to choose your woods and colors and everything. And what you can do is you can send us your final specs and we can get a price. Same thing for Japan. Just send us the specs, the kind of wood, pickups, bridge, whatever, and we will give you a price code as well as estimated time of completion. Do you recommend installing a locking nut yourself or get a guitar tech? Definitely get a guitar tech to install it because you don't want to screw up the position of the nut, because if you were to alter the position, you might screw up the intonation between the 1st till the 12th fret. Basic condenser mic for home recording, definitely the MXL770. You can check out the demo on our channel. Another one to consider is the SE Electronics X1A. What in-ear monitor function and how to use it? It functions to obviously monitor yourself, whether be it in the studio or live. But the good thing about in-ear monitors is it is a tight fit. It is molded to your ear, so it blocks out things you don't want to hear and you can focus on what you need to hear. And how to use it? In the studio, it's typically plugged into a headphone amplifier, and if you're using it live, you'll need a wireless belt pack to transmit to your in-ears. Best practice amp for bass, 10 to 20 watt range. I'll definitely recommend the Crush Bass by Orange, or you can consider the Hardkey HD 15 or 25. Cheapest electric guitar you guys have, the Stag SES30 is the cheapest one. Can amp modeling multi-effect like Zoom G5N be played through a studio monitor? Yes, it can be. Just make sure to turn on the cab simulator. What's the difference between Squier Affinity and Squier Classic Vibe 60? So you can think of the Affinity being the cheapest in their catalog, and the Classic Vibe is the top of the line for Squier. So better build quality, better pickups, and the Classic Vibe is it is the closest to a traditional Fender. Will Music Bliss take Squier model guitars in? Not anytime soon. I'm very sorry about that. Nick Johnson Diamond Series, best Strat type guitar at that price. Any other contenders? Yes, it is a very decent guitar for the price. Probably a contender to that would be the Made in Mexico Strats by Fender. But the Nick Johnson Diamond Series is really cool in the sense that it has a roasted neck. It is a flatter radius on the fretboard, so it's easy to play. What else? There is a locking tuners, so better tuning stability, and a 2-post trem, which is nicer to use with a tremolo. Are Yamaha Red Label guitars made in Japan significantly better than the Chinese-made ones? Well, Chinese-made guitars have come a long way. They actually sound really good now. A lot of guitars actually made in China, acoustic ones. They are catching up in terms of R&D, and a lot of brands, what they're doing is they're actually training luthiers to build their guitars. So, example like Yamaha are actually training Chinese luthiers, and other brands are doing the same thing. As for the Red Label, what's the advantage there? It has this thing called the ARE, which is some acoustic resonance enhancement. So what it does is it gives you the effect of the guitar being played in, being seasoned, because a lot of these Chinese guitars, they sometimes feel like they just chopped the tree and they made a guitar, which is doesn't make it sound really good. So you got to kind of play it in. You got to make sure you always hold it every day, play it, and you'll season like fine wine. The tone will improve. Multi-effects recommendation, and another question here, best multi-effect processor for the price between 1 to 2K. Between 1 to 2K, I would definitely recommend the Moore GE300. It is an excellent multi-effect. And any other multi-effect recommendation would be the Fractal FM3, which should be arriving in a couple of months. We have a few demos on the channel, so you can check out the tones that thing can achieve. Which looper pedal would you suggest? If you're a beginner, I would suggest the Boss RC1. Why? Because it has a LED light, a ring light there to show you how long your loop is, how many bars or how many seconds you've recorded the loop. Because some beginners, when they start layering their loop, they are unaware of how long the original loop is. So the RC1 is a great one for starters. How do people use effect on their laptop but not using pedals? They're using plugins, audio VSTs. So example like Neural DSP or Joey Sturgis Tones, they have amplifiers and all that, or Positive Grid. So you're basically plugging your guitar into the interface, you're opening your DAW, you turn on one of the plugins, and that's how you get your sound. Next question, do you suggest straps with locks or getting a strap locker installed on the guitar? I personally prefer putting strap lockers on the guitar. It's really easy, you can just screw them in yourself. I feel it's more secure. I feel that the straps with the locks, no matter how much marketing says that they are unbreakable or anything like that, they still break. They're made of plastic. So I prefer to have locking pins installed on my guitar. Plus, you can easily change the strap designs when using pins. Best affordable multi-effect, that would be the Moore G100 or 150. We tend to sell a lot of the G100 and everybody seems extremely happy with it. Pedal recommendation for beginners, I would recommend that you get a multi-effect, because if you are unaware, you don't know anything about the different modulation effects, how does a chorus sound like, what does a phaser sound like, what kind of overdrive or amp sounds that you prefer, go with a multi-effect, study what the multi-effect is modeling after, and then from there you can kind of have an idea of what you like, what you don't like, and then you can start experimenting with pedals. And the best way to begin with that is to work with your budget. Tube amp or solid state, both. You need both. Tube amp and solid state have their advantages and disadvantages, but tube amps tend to like to be cranked up at high volumes, so unless they have a attenuator built in or things like that, you can't really blast the volume. So that's where solid states come into handy, so you can practice really silently at home. Best way to use sequence backing track with a click track for live performing. I've never done this before, but if I were to do this, I would open up, I would have a laptop, open up your DAW, open up the project. I would have two tracks, left and right, so the left would have the click and maybe the right does not have the click. And then with your interface, you can send one track to the front of house and one track to your drummer, who will listen to it through headphones or in-ear monitors. So that way, when you play the track, the drummer has the click, he has the guide, and the front of house has your sequence. EMG 5766 or Seymour Duncan Sending Pegasus for high gain. This is a little difficult because I like both of them. But if you're talking purely high gain, then probably the Sentient Pegasus is a bit more, slightly more aggressive, and it has a bit more clarity. The 5766 is still a PAF based pickup. It is a bit more passive feeling, it's slightly more old school. Not saying you can't use it for metal, but if you're using it for high gain, then definitely the Sentient Pegasus. But you want something more versatile, 5766. Or another way to look at it is, if you have a guitar with passive pickups, just go for the Sentient Pegasus. If you have a guitar with active pickups like an 81, 85, then you can use the 5766. Best headphone for mixing, I'll probably recommend the Bayer Dynamic DT series. So either the 880 or 990, semi-open or open. But if you're going to be using it for recording as well, so like singing with a condenser mic, then maybe you'd want to go with the 770 so no noise leaks into the microphone. Is Guitar Lele recommended for beginner, and recommendations on guitar for beginners? So if you're talking about acoustic guitar, one of the guitars that we highly recommend here is the AD810. It's a really good guitar from Cortex. Is Guitar Lele recommended? It's probably recommended over a ukulele, since it still has 6 strings, but the tuning is different. So when you shift the guitar, you gotta relearn your theory. Epiphone Les Paul 50s or 60s? Why? 60s because the neck is slightly thinner, a bit more comfortable. When will new 2021 PRS SE available in Music Bliss? Depends on the supplier. When it arrives, it will arrive. What is the best bass for beginner? So if I were to check the best bass, we have a Stag bass actually. The Stag SBP30 going for only 559. Cheapest multi-effect that I recommend, the Moore GE100. I'm looking for a distortion pedal, but I'm on a budget. Which ones are the best one I can get under 200 ringgit? If it's under 200 ringgit, you can check out the TC Electronic Eyemaster, Grand Magus or Fangs Metal. We did a video comparing that. Now the current price is 215, but it'll be modified to around 190 I think, so give it a few days and our website should be updated. So you can check out one of those pedals. Have Schecter DJ Ashba model. We don't have it in stock, but we can order it for you. How do I grow such an amazing beard? Patience and perseverance. What is the best passive pickup? Oh, this is a too general question, bro. You gotta be more specific. What music do you play? What guitar do you use? This is like asking me, what is your favorite cake? I like all cakes. Please show the most affordable guitar with stable floating bridge that won't go out of tune after heavy usage. You can consider the Schecter SGR C1 with Floyd Rose is going for 1099. In terms of stability, it really depends on the setup. So make sure that the bridge is parallel to the body. It's not like leaning forward or leaning back too much. Make sure your strings are stretched, restrung properly, locking nuts are tightened properly, and you should have great tuning stability. Do you guys have the Ibanez GRG 140? Looking forward to buy this. We currently do not have it in stock, but contact our sales hotline and we should be able to help you out with that. How good is the Sinister Gates custom guitar? It is a pretty decent feeling guitar. Even though it's not using the Seymour Duncan pickups, it is now the Schecter pickups built into it. It's still a very decent guitar. The Floyd feels good, the Sustainer feels good. Can I use noise gate with fuzz pedal? Sure, why not? But I don't think you would want to. If you're worried about the noise, then don't play a fuzz pedal. My recommendation. If you want a fuzz pedal, you want that noise and that gnarly, choppy, square wave sounding thing. Can order Edwards through Music Bliss? Yes, you can order Edwards. Just send us the model and we will send you a price. And for those who still do not know, ESP is under Music Bliss currently. We are now the official distributors for ESP Ltd. How good is the Joyo R series pedal? I have not tried them actually, so this shall be a video idea. So stay tuned. In the next month, I'll definitely shoot a demo with a few of the R series pedals. What is the best Audio Technica headphones for bassists? Definitely the M50 because it's slightly bass heavy, so you'd want that. What is the best guitar string on the market now? The one that you like the most. Oh my god, can you please show the Ibanez Fretless 375E? I so want to buy it this year, crying. We don't have it in stock, so I can't show you. But hopefully when we have it in stock, we'll post it on our social media platforms. The best microphone. I want to buy one. Best microphone currently would be, let me quickly check our website and highlight you on this new model that we currently brought in from Slate Digital. So Slate Digital, let's see, it's on the website. So I'll currently recommend the Slate Digital VMS-ML1 modeling microphone. So this mic actually has about 6 to 8 different mics built into one. So think of it like a digital multi-effects, but this is in a microphone format. So it comes with different mics in one. Going for $2,999 launching promotion. Up pedal setup in Chora. He uses different things. He always changes his board from time to time, but I know he uses a Maxon OD808. There is a full tone, full drive 2 MOSFET. There is a Blue Sky Phase 90 and a Micropop from EHX. Best budget studio monitor. Well, budget wise, if you're talking monitors, I would definitely recommend the JBL LSR305. Good price, sounds good, and it does the monitoring well, and it's not boring to listen to because some monitors are really flat. Like personally, I don't like a completely flat monitor. I would like something with slight bit of color so I can still listen to music on that and not just mix on it. So LSR305. Why refret costs a lot? I got a cheap guitar, so I think it's not worth to refret. Well, same thing when you service your car. When you're just changing the oil, it's cheap, but you need to overhaul, chain timing belt and all that kind of stuff is expensive, right? So it's down to the labor. It is very labor intensive to make sure that the frets are installed correctly and there's no dead spots and they're all leveled and crowned correctly. What guitar are you holding? The black one, ESP256? No, it's not the ESP256. He's referring to this guitar right here, which is an ESP E2 series, still made in Japan. This one has a 3-piece maple neck as opposed to the other Eclipse series and EMG 81 and 60. And this retails for about around 8,000 ringgit. When you guys gonna have Epiphone Les Paul again? Unfortunately, not anytime soon. If you want other LP-shaped guitars, you can consider the Eclipse series from LTD or ESP, or you can consider the Solo 2 Custom series from Schecter. Delay pedal. Please make video on pedal combination for post-rock, post-metal. Sure, we can do that. If you have pedals that you want to recommend, leave a comment down below. We've started a new series called PB&J, Pedal Board and Jam. So we're going to just take a random bunch of pedals, put them together and see what we can come up with. How do I get a thrash metal tone? Expensive amp or expensive guitar? You need a proficient right hand. It doesn't matter how expensive the equipment be, but if you can't down pick right, you can't alternate pick right, you're not going to get the right thrash metal tone. So work on your right hand. Left-handed guitar collection available. You will have a few, very limited. Of course, if there's anything you want from LTD or Schecter, we can pre-order them for you. But something interesting now we are doing is we are clearing one of the models, the ESP LTD MH1000HS left-handed. So you can check that out on our website. It is currently going for a clearance price of 3249. Head amp boleh main tanpa cabinet tak? Tak boleh. Tak boleh unless the head has a feature to turn off the cabinet. So for example, this using Catna head, you got 20 watt, 5 watt, 1 watt, and you can turn off the speaker cabinet. Or if you look at the Boss Katana 100, you can actually unplug the cabinet because there is a built-in speaker in the head itself. Why you can't play without a cabinet for those that don't have the function? Because simplest explanation, the speaker out is sending power, and if the power can't go anywhere, it's gonna go back into the head and screw things up. Is the Akg Mic Pack Good? I'm assuming you're talking about the drum pack because your name has drums in it. So the session package is very decent, because I kind of think of it this way, that it's not just for drums, it's a versatile thing. So you can also use, like for example, the tom mics, like the P4, you can use them for your guitar cabinets. The P2 is the kick drum mic, I think, on the session, so you can use that for bass cabinets. And it comes with a couple of pencil condensers. It is the P17 based on a P170. So you can use the pencil condenser to actually record acoustic guitar, so it's quite versatile. And if you have a bit more budget, you can go for the Akg drum set Premium. So the difference there, it comes with a matched pair of C214 condenser mics. So instead of using this for overheads, you can use it for vocals, you can use it for acoustic guitar. It's a bit more versatile there. Have Yamaha Pacifica. Yeah, a few. We have a PAC 112V, PAC 612. And they're in a couple of colors. They're on the website, you can check them out. If there's anything you see that is not there and you want to pre-order, just give our sales team a call. Hercules DJ controller for beginners. Yes, it is excellent for beginners. I'm not much of a DJ, but one of the advantages of the Hercules DJ line of products is it is very beginner friendly, in the sense that I think that they actually assist you in tempo matching and beat matching the songs on each deck. So it's recommended for beginners. What's the difference between Headphone's ESP and LTD Iron Cross? I mentioned this on the stop. And our final question here today is, what's the difference between Headphone's ESP and LTD Iron Cross? So on the ESP version, it is Spurzer locking tuners. The LTD is the regular brand name one from LTD. The nut on ESP is a bone nut. The neck on the ESP is a single piece, but the LTD is a 3-piece. And finally, with the ESP, it comes with strap lock, so it has Dunlop locking pins built in, and the LTD does not have locking pins built in. So there you go, that is the end of our FAQ session today. We're going to call this the FAQ of the month. So if you have any questions for our next one, leave a question in this video below, and we'll be asking you guys on Instagram on our stories to leave a question as well. So till then, take care, see you soon.